What up, what up, what up, New York Giant Nation? It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan, coming back at y'all with episode 19 of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. We got a special guest co-host coming with me today, my man Ash Money. I'm going to bring him on in.
Yo, what's going on? What's going on, man?
What's going on, Ash, man? Thanks for joining me tonight, man. You can let them know where you from, man, where you can find you at.
All right, so as some people know, some people don't know, I was, formerly known as Ash Money. But since I'm in going into my second year or going into my third year, finishing up my second year this spring, I I rebranded, try to do something a little more professional. Um, and so I rebranded my channel for a sports show that I'm going to be doing probably starting next week or in 2 weeks. Nah, definitely starting next week. Called the Get Back with Ashton, and I've just been working on that, trying to get some stuff together. As you see, I don't know how it looks like right now because I know my Wi-Fi goes like in and out. But yeah, I'm trying to get switch up my setup. You see, I just put up like my vinyls today and stuff. So yeah, I'm switching up my setup, trying to just figure a whole bunch of stuff out. But yeah, I'm gonna be starting that. So if anybody wants to check me out, my first episode should be ready probably later this week, to be honest. But yeah, thank you for having me on. If you hear my dog crying in the back, that's my dog Tucker. He's a crybaby. So, but yeah, thanks for having me on.
Man, thanks for coming, man. Like I said, we're gonna get right up into get right to it, man. Take it from the top, man. We're gonna just start with the nightmare that was the New York Giants on Sunday, man. You want to get your thoughts first, man?
I mean, it's not really nothing really to talk about. I mean, I've said this a lot of times. Um, Shout out to Authentic in the chat as well. I was on his giant overreaction a couple weeks ago, and I said it like I've been mentally checked out of the Giants for a couple of weeks now. I'd probably say when was it? Yeah, he got injured. The Philly Daniel Jones got injured the Philly game, and
Yeah.
so 2 weeks or a week after, when all that speculation was coming out that he was going to be out for the season, that's when I kind of started, signing out, checking out. Just because simply, like him or not, Daniel Jones was one of the, he was kind of like the face of the team, I'd say, and it was kind of holding the team together. Um, and a lot of people, including myself, and I'm sure you as well, weren't really happy with his play. That was so. But still, like he just showed something that that just kept the team together. And I'll say that to at the least. So once he was out, I just kind of checked out, and especially seeing after Mike Lennon, and then we had a little bit of hope for Jake Fromm. Not really saying he was the franchise guy, but just to like maybe he could, do something that a lot of backup quarterbacks around the league was doing, which was not really missing a step. Like we have Colt McCoy with Arizona when Kyler Murray was out. Mike White, when he came in that 1 week, he had that huge surprise to everybody. The Ravens with Tyler Huntley and Josh Johnson. Trying to think of another one. I'm not sure. This past week, with the Detroit Lions, I forgot his name. Nick Boyle, was it Nick
I
Boyle?
can't. Yeah, it was. That's exactly what his name was. Yeah,
Nick
that guy.
Boyle.
Yeah, that
Nick
guy.
Boyle. He he was getting blown out, but he was still putting points up on the board. And really, it would probably be the same amount of points that the Lions would have put up if Jared Goff was on the team as well, if he was playing. So we kind of hoped that from Jake Fromm, but it kind of became a little bit worse. Even though I disagreed with Joe Judge pulling him out mid game, I just felt like he Jake Fromm didn't really have a lot of confidence there. Oh, it's Tim Boyle. Thank you, Authentic. But Jake Fromm didn't really have a lot of confidence, especially after you being a 5th round pick coming from a winning franchise with a champion, or not a franchise, a winning college football organization with a championship pedigree in Georgia, you get drafted out of the 5th round, and then you get released from the Bills from like, when they replaced you with Mitchell Trubisky. So already his confidence wasn't really at a good level. So I just felt like leaving him in. You left Daniel Jones in against the Rams when he was taking a beating. Why don't you do the same with Jake Fromm? So I don't know. After that, it was just kind of like checked out for me. So
I definitely feel you, man. I piggybacking off everything you're talking about. It comes down to what that boils down to me is that just comes down to coaching right there. You just basically what you just explained comes right down to the point right there. We got something's not right because you got teams like you said, Detroit, where we got a guy like Tim Boyle who was where the hell was he at 2 weeks ago, a week ago? You know what I mean? And now he comes in, he looks competent at least. I mean, sure, they're still not great. Did Detroit win also? I can't even remember. No, they didn't win.
No, they
didn't win
lost.
The game. They lost, but at the same time, he still comes in. He's still moving the ball. Like it's the offense, whoever their coaching staff figured out a way to still make their offense look like a little bit of something, even with a guy like Tim Boyle, where we got Mike Glennon out there going 4 for 11, 24 yards and throwing 2 interceptions and fumbling twice too. He actually fumbled like 4 times, but recovered a couple of them. So, when you
I didn't mean to cut you off. I was saying Logan, young Logan pointed out something earlier today, and it was just like, how come when we are fully healthy, and I get it, we were facing Tampa Bay off of a week where they lost to Washington, and you don't really want to face Tom Brady when he's mad, but how come we could get blown out by Tampa Bay when we're almost fully healthy? I think the only person we were missing that week was Logan Ryan, when we were fully healthy, but the Jets literally almost and should have, if they didn't decide to go for it on 4th and 2 and do a QB sneak on 4th for 2, really should have beat Tampa Bay, and they were injured. And Tampa Bay still had Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, even though he quit, and Gronkowski. It's kind of something I kind of noticed. What's going on, Joe?
What's going on? How you doing, Joe? Thanks for stopping in, man. And I'm glad I was in the chat too tonight, Authentic, because actually, man, the other day when I was listening to your overreaction show, something you brought up, like something back to this coaching thing. We all, like you was talking about Jason Garrett, and the one game point in time this season when Mike Glennon looked like a competent NFL quarterback somewhat was when he came in that Cowboys game in relief for Daniel Jones when Daniel Jones got that concussion. And Jason Garrett was still the offensive coordinator. Now, that Mike Glennon was the quarterback that led Kadarius Toney to that record-setting day. I mean, it just seems to me that something's fractured in this system, and I'm not going to jump on this Joe Judge thing again right now. I definitely don't want to jump on that right now. But the reality is you got to be able to pull something out of these players, man. You got to be able to find something to work with what you got. I mean, it's never going to be perfect, but you got to work with what you got and make it at least look competent, man. And right now, we're not doing even that. We just look bad, man. I mean, our leading receivers, Evan Ingram and David Seals, both tied with 1 catch for 12 yards. I mean, how is the NFL offense supposed to function? NFL offense can't function that way. Defense is out there. They're playing their hearts out, man. It's not perfect, but they're still playing hard. They're playing hard on that side of the football. And they're getting stops. They're getting some key stops, and the offense continues to come on the field and just do nothing. Keep doing nothing. And I think coming up this week, Joe Judge is going to be a big week for Joe Judge, man. He's got a lot to prove, I feel like, this week if he has any chance on saving his job going forward, man. This week is going to be huge.
Like you said, we don't really have to get into the Joe Judge thing, but there has been some reports, and again, like I take every report with a grain of salt. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's false. But they're saying that John Mara and Steve Chist are like really unhappy with Joe Judge's 11-minute rant that he did after last game, and him taking a shot at Pat Shermer, and I guess you could throw in Ben McAdoo as well. Um, and it it's kind of odd that he did that. It felt like he was worried. I would say about his job security. As you see, like all year, he handled the media pretty well. A lot of fans, and I'll reiterate what Miz said on his stream, but a lot of fans didn't really like how he did press conferences, but in the terms of like a head coach and how you handle a press conference all year, he really handled the media really well. And now he didn't go off on rants or anything like that. But now all of a sudden, he just went off on a whole rant, trying to kind of defending his case. It just felt like he felt like
Desperation.
it felt like he was desperate. It felt like and then Ian Rappaport, said that he was talking to the team. And I don't really get why you would come out on the and talk to the media, but your direction is talking to the team, But it felt like he was, for once, that his job, he felt like he wasn't going to be back, right? So that's my thing. I know that Joe Judge he hasn't been able to run this team like how he wanted to. He wanted to fire he wanted to fire Jason Garrett last November, or 2 Novembers ago, if we're being technical. But if he wanted to, I guess he wanted to sign offensive lineman. His name's not coming to me at the moment, but Chris Mara didn't let him. Chris Mara didn't.
O'Connell.
Yeah. Chris Mara didn't let him sign him. But like I said, and I always say, there's decisions that head coaches make that don't it doesn't require a good amount of talent. Look at Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin has gone through years. I mean, we just recently found out about the whole situation with Ben and Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. There was years where Ben was injured, and you had Mike Tomlin had to play with Mason Rudolph, and there was another quarterback who wore number 3 that was a backup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I forgot what his name was, but he played a good amount of that season as well. I think it was that 2017 season, I believe. But yeah, never had a losing season. Look at Sean Payton. I mean, Sean Payton has had to deal with a lot of stuff. Look at there's a lot of coaches around the league that they've dealt with adversity, and they've come in and they turn around just like that in one off season.
I agree.
I don't want to go off on like a long rant, because I know we got some stuff to get to, but there's things that Joe Judge, there's things that you don't have to have a good line for just to show you that he has a right direction and where he's facing his team. I don't want to hear about any culture BS. I see a lot of teams come in and their head coaches restill their culture. It happens around the league. A lot of teams bring in good players, So
I totally agree with that. That's what I'm getting. That's the point I'm pretty much getting at. I feel like the way I feel too. Like it's one thing. It's okay to not have the best talent on the rock. It's okay not to have the best talent. What's going on, AK? But but you got to try. It's up to the coaches to get something out of what you do have. You know what I mean? You got to get the most out of what you have. And I just feel like that's where our coaches are failing. I understand other teams have lesser talent and they're still getting things out. Like the reason I feel like we're the worst team in football, no matter what our record is better than a few other teams, is because other teams still find ways to work within their means and work with what they got. And we're not figuring that out. We're just kicking field goals, settling for 3 points and 6 points every game. So I just can't be on board with that. You know what I mean? I need to see something more going forward. If they give him the reins, give him this team and let him go into this draft, make every move he wants to make, and he still fails, then that's a problem, and that's going to be an even bigger problem. You know what I mean? So
let me ask you something real quick. Do you really believe that all of these players that we bring in, they're just I'm not talking about the first rounds. I'm talking about players like Carter, players like Lorenzo Carter, players like Matt Pert, player like there's a lot of players that we've brought in, but they don't really perform well, and it's crazy like how many players that we've labeled as bust, right, that have come in and they've gone to other teams and have balled out. Really, I mean, a player that a lot of people don't remember, Dante Dion. He was getting promoted from the practice squad. He was getting cut, promoted, cut, and he was just going on this on forward cycle back and forth, and he goes to the Rams and he balls out. I mean, he was shutting us down when we played them. I mean, look at Baltimore. Baltimore lost Marcus Peters. They lost Marlon Humphrey. They've lost a good amount of players on their defense. They've also lost. They started the year without Rashad Bateman, and then Lamar's out. And Baltimore has still found ways to be in games. I mean, they literally, without Lamar and without a good amount of people on their defense, they were just about to. They were just about to beat the Rams this past Sunday. Just about.
Preaching to the choir. That's what I've been saying the whole time. Everybody embraces this. Excuse me. Everybody embraces the next man up mentality. Every other team seems to embrace that mentality way better than the New York Giants do. It seems like if we get some key players going down, we just want to use them as excuses as to why we look so bad and why we can't do this and why we can't do that. To me, that's unacceptable because at the end of the day, all of these guys are in the NFL. They're all NFL players, which means they were all good enough, apparently, to make an NFL roster, which only a very small percentage of people can do. So
and look at the Titans though. The Titans, we were coming at the Titans at the for Jackrabbit, Janoris Jenkins being their best corner. We were saying, "Oh, Jackrabbit's washed." Jackrabbit, he's not what he was since he left the Giants. They're his best corner. At one point, they led the league in IR, and we were saying, "Oh, Bud Dupree was an overrated signing. They overpaid Bud Dupree." And they led the league at one point in players on IR, and a good amount of those players were on the defensive side. Excuse me, I gotta sneeze.
No, you good, bro?
But a lot of those, thank you. A lot of those players were on IR, right? And they had the number 1 seed. They still managed to beat the Bills. Still managed to beat the Rams. Still managed to beat winning teams. So
right now they positioned to be number 1 seed, in
they are the number 1 seed.
Yeah. So right now, I mean, and their best player went down mid-season. But if you got anything else on the Giants, we can get ready to move on to Dallas, man. If you unless you got any last comments on the Giants.
Oh, bro. I'm good. Right. If anybody wants to, because I'm sure me and Hub we'll get much more into it on his stream. So all the stuff that I have to say will be on that stream.
Heard that. And so this next game, man, Cardinals 25, Cowboys 22 down in Dallas. These are two teams that's going to both be in the playoffs. As a matter of fact, is it possible they might have been a playoff preview? I can't remember how it's set up right now, but I think these two might be possibly playing each other as things stand right now in the playoffs, in the first round of the playoffs.
Talking about the Cowboys and Eagles?
Cowboys and the Cardinals.
Oh, the Cardinals. Oh, you're doing the last week, this past week.
Last week. Yeah, Cardinals and Cowboys. Yeah, any thoughts on that game from that?
I didn't really, watch that game. I did saw like they had a controversial like fumble call, I believe. Yeah. But I didn't know that it was an interesting fact, or interesting stat. Kyler Murray, since high school, before this game, he was 5-0 in the AT&T Stadium. So I thought they were setting him up to lose, right? But now he's 6-0. So I think he won once or now twice in the NFL. I think he won once in college at Oklahoma, and he won 3 more times in high school with the state championships. I think I don't know. Don't hold me on that, but yeah, for that's crazy, um, and yeah, Joe. A lot of people said that Mike McCarthy wasn't really he was selling with his time management. So um, I just feel like the Cardinals, especially their offense, it kind of exposed. Even though Trayvon Diggs is having a great year, but he is the first corner to allow like 1,000 yards in coverage this year. So he's kind of like an underrated but an overrated corner at the same time because he has 11 interceptions, but he let up like 1,000 yards. So I feel like if he didn't, have the interceptions, a lot of people wouldn't be talking about Trayvon Diggs the way they are, you know. Um, but yeah, and I think Micah Parsons, he's in the COVID protocol, so I don't think he's playing this week. But yeah, I don't really have much to say about the game. Like I said, I was at work, I believe, and I didn't really get a chance to catch this game. So
Okay.
yeah.
And well, yeah, typical. It was and Cardinals kind of came out on them quick, man. And the Cowboys really, I don't want to call it what the Cowboys did garbage time. They got back into the game, but the Cardinals kind of had control of the game most of the way.
Yeah.
The score did get close to the end. 25-22 was the final, but it was definitely controlled by the Cardinals the whole way. Pretty much Cardinals were in cruise control by the fourth quarter. Cowboys did get back in the game, made the score respectable. Dak had a solid performance. He was 24-38, 266 yards. 226 yards, excuse me. 3 touchdowns. They never got the running game going. That's really what their downfall was in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys, you got a 2-headed monster at running back. You got 2 really legit good running backs. I don't understand how they're and they got a good line up front, man. So I don't know why they're not pounding, why they don't put their hands in the dirt and pound the ball and ground it out on people, man. With Pollard and Zeke. Zeke only had 16 yards rushing in this game on 9 carries.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, man.
And they really have two. They have 2 number 1 running backs, in my opinion. And I feel like if Tony Pollard was on like another team, where he was the main focal point, I feel like he would be a number 1 back in the league. Or not number 1 in the league,
not
but
in the league. I know what you mean. A number 1 on somebody's team.
Yeah.
He could be a number 1 on a few teams around the league. He could be a number 1. If he was down Jacksonville right now, he'd clearly be a number 1 running back. But
I'd say if he was on the Bills, he'd be the number 1.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a couple of teams.
Definitely. But also, like you said, when you're talking about Diggs, the Cowboys defense in general, they didn't get any turnovers in this game. And that's another thing with the Cowboys. Their defense is really average if they're not creating turnovers. You know what I mean? That's what their defense lives and dies off of. They got some playmakers, obviously, like you said, Michael Parsons and Randy Gregory coming back a few weeks ago. They got some playmakers on that side of the ball. Diggs was 11 interceptions, but their defense is really, really. They need those turnovers to be getting those turnovers to really be making things happen, man. And when they're not getting turnovers, you can pretty much move the ball almost at will. Like you said, the reason why I feel like Diggs isn't really seriously in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation anymore is just like you just said. He gets the interceptions, but at the same time, he gives up a lot of yards as well. He's not like he's some kind of superstar, like cover cornerback back there, man. He's good. I'm not going to take anything away from him. He takes advantage of his opportunities, but he does give up a lot of yards. He gives a lot of big yards in there, and on to receivers, man. So, like I said, the Cowboys ain't creating turnovers. You can pretty much move the ball on, man. And I just went and checked, and this is right now, as things stand right now. The Cowboys and Cardinals will be meeting each other in the first round of the playoffs, and it will be in Dallas again. So I'm not sure if things can change. I'm pretty sure they can maybe change a little bit with these games coming up this weekend. But if things stay the way they are right now, the Cowboys, and that was a preview of the first round of the playoffs right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and back to the Dallas, defense thing. Like if you're creating turnovers for me. Like I don't care like how many yards you give up. Like if Trayvon Diggs was on this team and he was creating turnovers and he was allowing 1,000 yards, I don't care if you're allowing 1,000 yards all the season. Just if you put my offense back on the field and prime position to score, I don't give a damn. How many yards you're giving up. It just comes to the point where if you're being regarded to somebody in like defensive player of the year, what's up, Jeff? If you're being regarded as somebody like T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, even Micah Parsons, I can't give you the edge as a defensive player, over a guy like T.J. Watt. I mean, T.J. Watt is about to break the sack record, the single season sack record, if he gets 2 more sacks this week. Crazy.
That could happen. I remember he went down. If he went down, I can't remember how long ago it was now, but it looked bad. But then he was back on the field like the next week or something like that.
Yeah, he only played, I believe, this past game, he played 15 games this year. He only played 15.
Yeah. So I mean, he looked like he was going to have a season-ending injury, and he can't end up coming back from that, and he still just picked right up where he left off. Man, that guy's an absolute stud. I wish he was a New York Giant. I tell you that. But we can move on to the Eagles and Washington if you don't have any more thoughts on the Cowboys.
Nah, I don't really want to talk about the Cowboys anyway.
Well, we're going to move on to another team headed to the playoffs, man. The Philadelphia Eagles, man. And they went on and they took on the Washington football team, who will be getting a new name apparently in February. They finally came to terms on a new name. They're going to announce it the first week of February. Find out what that is. I looked at the names that was on their list of the finalists for the names, and one of the names is still the Washington football team. Wouldn't it be crazy if they come out after all of this and just say they're just going to
we're going to say the Washington football team? Nah, they can't. Their fans would erupt.
But 20-16, the Eagles ended up coming back, winning this game. Washington came out the gates fast on them, but the Eagles did what they had to do, and they got the job done, man. Behind Jalen Hurts, man. Jalen Hurts, I gotta say, man. Like I said, I talked so much shit on Jalen Hurts in the offseason, man. Didn't think he was gonna be that guy. Didn't think he had it in him. I mean, the kid just keeps getting better and better every week. He's showing improvement. Now, he's still not where he needs to be totally, but his arm is getting better. He's getting better. He's getting more accurate with his downfield throws. Still not perfect, but he's getting better. Like I said, showing improvement.
Hold on, Mag. I think Lou thinks I'm not. I missed his chat. What's up, Lou? I think he thinks I'm ignoring him or something. I just missed your comments, Lou.
What's going on, man? What's going on, Lou?
Yeah.
My bad, bro. I just these chats is going a little faster than I'm used to, honestly. In here, my streams usually everything be a lot more slower. There's a little more people in the chat than I'm used to be quite honest. Yeah. But I appreciate that, by the way. But Jalen Hurts though, man, he's in the. I mean, like I said, I had to eat a whole lot of crow on this kid, man, because he's definitely proven to be more than just a guy that can run around, man. He can definitely sit in that pocket and sometimes actually make the throws necessary too, man. In the last few games, he's kind of been getting it done with his arm a lot more than with just his legs, man. So, I mean, and the Eagles' run game is also just, to me right now, honestly, it's just to me, I feel like it's the best run game in the NFL right now, currently.
Yeah.
Just overall, I mean, they can just throw a bunch of running backs at you, man, and they all seem to be effective, man. Boston Scott led the way for him this week with 47 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. You never know when it might be Jordan Howard. I don't know. Like I said, Miles Sanders is hurt, banged up. He might not be able to return with a broken hand. But then they also got that kid, Kenny Gainwell, that even though he's kind of went into doghouse a little bit, he can still come in and make some plays as well, man. And then Dallas Goedert also, man, is that dude starting to ever since that Ertz trade, man, he's starting to wake up too, man. Making a lot of big plays in the Eagle offense, man, for Jalen Hurts, man, coming through in the clutch, man.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm good. I was going to ask you to pass it over to you, see if you had any thoughts.
Basically, the Eagles have surprised me. The Eagles have surprised me this year. I mean, not just me, a lot of Giants fans, we weren't even worried about the Eagles heading to this season. We were saying we were worried about Dallas and Washington. we were saying those are our only, competition this year. We were making fun of Nick Sirianni, calling him a sandwich coach, making fun of him for playing rock, paper, scissors, in press conferences and stuff. And he turned, after what Doug Peterson left after last year, what they left that team in, and a lot of, the owner and the general manager and some players were really clocked out of it after, he benched Jalen Hurts. We saw a lot of we heard reports of fights in the locker room. And so that team looked like they were just in a full rebuild. And Nick Sirianni came in, made the right decisions, and now they're in the playoffs. So, and also they've dealt with injuries this year as well. They haven't had their players for all, 17 games this year, including Jalen Hurts. And the Eagles, like with their running game, they've been able to do that for years. Like ever since the Super Bowl. A lot of people don't remember that. They had a 3-back rotation with Corey Clement, Jay Ajayi, and Corey Clement, Jay Ajayi, and there's another LeGarrette Blount when he was a veteran for them. It don't really matter about who the Eagles beat that's above 500. That's a lot of things, Giants fans, we got to stop doing. Last year, when we give Joe Judge praise for almost making the playoffs, and we were 6-10, we didn't really beat any teams that were like that were really good. But we gave Joe Judge credit. We beat the Bengals without Joe Burrow. We got lucky against the Seahawks. We beat the Eagles. We swept Washington, and there was 2 games that I'm missing right now, right? But and exactly, you play who's on your schedule.
That's what I was getting ready to say. You took the words out of my mouth, man. You can only play who's on your schedule.
Judge didn't really beat no teams last year, and then when we did go up against that Lamar, we went up against that Kyler Murray. We went up against, Ben Roethlisberger. We went up against a good amount of teams who had QBs playing at a high level. We got exposed, right? So I'm not going to take anything away from the Eagles, even though they are my rival. And like me and growing up in Delaware, you got Eagles fans right across. So they're running buck wild. So even though I hate the Eagles and they are the bane of my existence, I'm not going to take anything away from the Eagles. So, but yeah, back to the game. The Eagles, they had a good matchup. Taylor Heineke, he's not really a quarterback that you want to let the game rest in his hands. Sometimes he's shown it this season, but this time, he threw an interception, a costly interception in the red zone, and clinched the Eagles playoff berth this week. So, but Jalen Hurts had a good game, and if Jalen Hurts can develop his passing, the Giants are now going to have 2 quarterbacks to worry about for the foreseeable future with Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott, because Jalen Hurts is dangerous with his running game, and if he becomes dangerous with his passing game, he's going to be not just a problem for the NFC East, but he's going to be a problem for the whole league.
I agree with that, and it's really, honestly, it's more as just downfield passing, man. Honestly, because like I said, he was 17-26 on the day for 214 yards. So it's really, he just polishes that downfield passing and become more consistent with that. He can be a superstar in this league, man, quarterback. But also, before we get too far away from this point, real quick about the who they beat over 500 thing in the schedule, like Chris Bucco said, man, you can only play who's on your schedule, and I hate doing this. I hate giving the Eagles props, man. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, they for most of the teams that were a little better on their schedule, that they might have lost the games they lost, they at least competed in those games. They absolutely competed in most of those games. And for the bad teams like the Detroit Lions that they played and teams like that, they
blew them out.
They beat the hell out of them. So it's not like they were in those games either and just barely squeaking by wins. They were destroying those teams. So, I mean, I can't knock the Eagles for that. They had a last place schedule. They went out there and they played the teams on their schedule, and that's what happened, man. The results
You
are
know,
what the results are.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing that the Giants went through last year. You know, we weren't saying that last year. We were saying, "Oh yeah, Joe Judge, he's putting this team in the right direction." Joe Judge has changed this culture. Did you see what Joe Judge did? He almost took this team to the playoffs. Almost. If ever Ingram catches the ball, he takes us to the playoffs. Right? But it does, like you said, you play the teams on your schedule, right? You don't have the ability to, you don't have the ability to change any teams. And yeah, the Eagles probably are going to get, they probably are going to get exposed when they played in the playoffs. I think they'll be a one and done team, but they're a young team, just like us. They're one of the younger teams in the league. They're going to have a quarterback and a coach who's going to be into their first playoff experience, but that's going to go a long way. The same thing. We wanted the Giants to get into the playoffs last year because it was going to build experience for this young team. The Eagles have that now. So they have it. They're going to have that playoff experience. They're going to have that winning drive. So if they go into the playoffs in the next year or the year after that, they're going to look better. They're going to know what it takes to win and get into the playoffs, something that we don't have. Right? So something that literally every team in this division has but us.
But us now, yeah.
That's sad, So I'm not going to take nothing away from the Eagles. I know a lot of Giants fans, they don't really want to do it. And, they're hating on the Eagles because we couldn't do the same thing. But yeah, let's just leave it at that.
I mean, I don't know if you had any thoughts on Washington, man. Their quarterback situation maybe going forward, what they may be planning on doing. Heineke's had a really up and down season. A lot of people in the Washington fan base wanted Heineke to be a guy, man. I'm not so sure he is, and I'm wondering, thinking they'll be looking for a quarterback this offseason, man.
They could. I mean, they're in the same position as us. I don't think they move forward with Heineke. They could take a quarterback in the draft. They could take a Pickett. They could take a Willis. I would say Corral, but he did get injured. And also, if they want to bring in a veteran, they could do that. Even though they brought in Fitzpatrick, and that didn't really look at. He only played week 1, I believe. He only played one game.
He didn't. Yeah, he only played
one game. Yeah, so that kind of blew up in their face. And I think there's a lot of ways. Maybe bring in a veteran court, maybe bring in a Marcus Mariota. Maybe bring in, a Teddy Bridgewater. Maybe you could try to trade for Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson if it's clean, or you draft a quarterback. This is going to be a very interesting year for a lot of teams, and I feel like some of these quarterbacks in the draft, they're going to. I feel like they're going to surprise a lot of people because they're going to end up in good situations and they're going to ball out because they're on a good team. Willis, what'd you say?
I was saying, looking at Joe's comment, I'm saying that's just kind of crazy to me. That's anybody will laugh.
Yeah,
I
don't know. I don't know who would laugh at. I don't know if anybody thought Taylor Heineke was like an answer for them, but he did show like some promise earlier on in the year. Maybe that's probably it, because I remember after the Giants Washington game,
he definitely had some moments.
Yeah, he looked like he was going to be the real deal for Giants and Washington. Like he was just delivering strikes. That one pass where Adoree got mossed on in the end zone. That was a throw that not a lot of quarterbacks can make. So there was definitely plays this year where he showed promise, but like I said, he's proven that he's not really a quarterback where if you need to come down the field and you need to score, you don't really want to put that in his hands. So
he has his biggest problem has been consistency, man. He just hasn't really been able to just string good games together consistently enough. I mean, he seemed like he has like the talent, he has the tools, but he may just be better served as a good, solid backup, reliable backup that a team could have, man. And my opinion is I think Washington, I'm not sure if this is the draft to do it, but they need to start figuring out a solid answer at quarterback, because I'm not quite sure Taylor Heineke is that answer, man. I really kind of feel I don't feel any more sure about him than I do about Daniel Jones, for instance. You know what I mean? Like, just not really 100%. You know, you see a guy that has the tools, has some of the stuff, but not enough of the stuff. You know what I mean? I don't. That makes any sense. I just not.
Nah, it does.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's just really gonna be their final answer. At the same time, would I completely question if they went into next year and still try to make it work with Taylor Heineke? Or I wouldn't even really question that either because at the same time he has done also I feel like enough this season that could maybe warrant that another opportunity as well. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do, man, with their new name and everything, man. We'll see what that's going to be. But
Yeah.
if we can get ready to move and talk about the games next week, man. Unless you have any more comments on the Eagles of Washington.
Oh nah, man. This is actually one of the first shows where like I go over. So if it seems like I'm not really giving much, this is like one of the first
Oh
shows
no,
I
you're
actually
doing
like
good, bro.
going over and like um analyze like every NFC East game. You know,
Yeah,
it's really maybe I should start doing that as well. Because with my show, I'm not just gonna focus on the Giants. Like I'm gonna, it's gonna be like a sports show, so it's gonna cover like a lot of things.
oh
And
yeah.
I'm gonna do it like all in one stream, or like I might pre-record it, but yeah,
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that beat though. Yeah, I've been doing this all season, every Wednesday night,
hmm
all season. Just the NFC, just this particular show, just focus on the NFC East in general. You know, all four
yeah,
teams. It's time right now. The last few weeks has been a lot less games because everybody's a lot of divisional games and stuff like that. Earlier season, you have literally. I'd be on here talking about like 8 different games or something like that
yeah.
for the weeks before and the week after. But now it's as you see, like man, we only got 2 games this week. Obviously, 2 divisional games. And we start off with the Cowboys and the Eagles, man. How you feel about this game this week?
um, I'm not gonna lie. I just have a weird feeling that the Eagles could really come in and is it in Dallas or is it in Philly?
It is in Philly.
I really feel like the Eagles could probably put a stamp on the season and upset them. Um, I don't know. I don't know. If they run the ball and run the ball effectively, and Jalen Hurts can catch Trayvon Diggs slipping like at least a good time or two, I feel like Dallas could be shook because Dak Prescott isn't playing his best right now. He's really not playing his best. And to be honest, if we're being frankly, these past couple of weeks, he's been the one thing that has been holding the Cowboys back. Like he's been playing winning football, but he hasn't been playing his best. So I feel like he's been holding Dallas back into and for them playing like at their full potential on all cylinders firing, So I think that but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's my homie, man.
yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I have a good feeling that the Eagles could go out and upset them. But am I gonna pick them? Nah, I think Dallas bounces back. I feel like they need to at least get a dominant win, or not a dominant win, just a win where they're firing on all cylinders, and so they can get that confidence going into the playoffs. So I'm gonna pick Dallas, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles pull off the upset.
Uh, I think the Eagles are going to have trouble this week because they got a couple of things going. I mean, I'm hearing reading some rumors about they may be just resting their players,
For the
and
Eagles?
they also have a lot of COVID cases to deal with.
Mm.
They're dealing with a lot of COVID cases. They had an outbreak, so I'm
Oh, yeah.
thinking,
See, I ain't know that.
yeah. So I'm thinking that honestly, even right now, the Eagles are at home, and it's in Philly, and Dallas is still a 7-point favorite right now. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the COVID, because they wouldn't be a 7-point favorite if the Eagles are at full strength. So I feel like the Eagles are probably going to be sitting a lot of players, and so many other ones will have on COVID. Saturday game, I think honestly, he wants to get this. Sirianni's going to want to get this team ready for that playoff game against. It looks like it's going to be the Rams, probably like most likely the Rams or the Bucks. Not ideal matchups. I don't think either. I think they're not really ideal matchups. I don't think either one for the Eagles, but I think Sirianni is going to be getting this team ready for that. And I believe I would say that I like the Cowboys in this one. I think they're gonna beat them. I usually do a score prediction, and I feel like about I say 27-20. Figure they just covered the spread in this one. And
Yeah, I didn't know that. All I knew was that Micah Parsons, not Micah Parsons has I don't think he's gonna play this week. And I think Micah Parsons does a lot for that defense. But yeah, with that news, I mean I still pick Dallas, so I'm gonna just still pick Dallas. But yeah, it should be a rough one for Philly.
yeah, I mean, if you got a score prediction, you can throw a score prediction out there if you like.
Let's see. Oh, I just have a feeling that Dallas is gonna try to go out and try to get a dominant win. So I'm gonna say about 31-17.
That's
Dallas.
I mean that's because I'm not 100% sure if the Cowboys can maybe jump ahead of Tampa Bay or something like that in the standings too, and change their seeding, and which could make them the third seed as opposed to the fourth seed. Right now, the Cowboys are the fourth seed. I'm not sure if they can possibly get ahead of Tampa Bay, become the third seed maybe, or even get up as high as the 2 seed. I'm not sure exactly how that's shaking up, but I'm not. They may have something that they want to play, that they feel that they want to play for. Maybe if that's like just a higher seed, you know what I mean? They try to preserve an extra home game in the playoffs if they can get win the first week. So we'll see. But we can move on to the last game, man, and we know what that is. We definitely ain't got to spend a whole lot of time on this one, bro. But yeah, we got the Washington football team coming to visit the New York Giants, man, and I haven't seen anything that's gonna make me believe the New York Giants have a fucking chance in this game, bro. I just, even though it's only against Washington, who's also struggling a bit as well, I just haven't seen anything that makes me believe the Giants can go out there and get a W on Sunday in this game, man. Especially with what they do on offense. I just see this playing out the same way every other game has. The defense will keep us in as long as they can, and the offense will sit out there and continue to do nothing, and eventually the game will get away from us, man. That's how every game has been this past month since Daniel Jones has been injured. Every game is played out exactly that way.
It would be crazy if all of a sudden we just go out there and like win, so Joe Judge could keep his job.
Oh man, that would just
that would be crazy. And if John Mayer buys that, I have no respect for him. But yeah, I kind of think the same way. And I feel like if we have a similar outing to what we have seen in the past couple of weeks, I think Joe Judge is fired.
Totally agree.
I don't really want to call for anybody's job, but I mean, you don't show any fight in any of these games. I mean, even against a wash, even against the corpse of Andy Dalton, the Bears. When have the Bears really blown out somebody? I get it. I get it. But, I get it. You got Mike Glennon at your quarterback. But when? I mean, look who the Bears have faced, this past year. They haven't blown out anybody. Their defense hasn't looked any good like how it's been looked all year, right? So, and their offense hasn't really looked that good until like this past week in the week against Seattle, But, yeah, I expect us to lose. I wrote a letter on my Twitter to Washington. Call me. Anybody can call me a fake fan if you want, but I said, wrote a letter to Washington. I was like, I want y'all to play the clip of what Joe Judge said about y'all all week. And I need you to go out this Sunday, and I need you to expose him for what he truly is so we can get him out of here. So, and Ron Rivera was asked about it, and he didn't really give any, he didn't give any thought to it. I mean,
he's heard. I'm sure he's heard, but he hasn't. These guys try to always deflect those kind of questions, to the media, and then a guy like I'm sure he's been in his players' ears though.
Yeah,
Probably,
and
probably hanging up on the walls in the locker room.
even Joe Judge declined to speak with the Washington reporters. Like the thing that teams do, like every game where you open to like the general public and you have Washington report. He declined to speak to the Washington reporters because he knew, they were going to ask him about, you know, that thing, the quotes that he said about, his teams fighting on the sideline and stuff. So, um, I kind of find it really hard to believe that he wasn't talking about Washington, where literally Washington, there was the only incident of their players fighting on the sideline all year.
Mm,
But that I remember. But I find it really hard. He said he wasn't talking about Washington, but I just find it really
sure,
hard that
sure he wasn't.
yeah.
I mean, with all the things going on with the New Giants right now, he needs to not worry about what anybody other team is doing. He needs to figure out how to fix the New York Giants. You know what I mean? The fact that he's even
Yeah.
commenting or worrying about anything else going on anybody else's team is also problematic to me with Joe Judge, man.
And that's what I'm saying.
Giants.
I felt like he just lost. I felt like he lost it. Like I felt like he just lost himself because he was worried. He was disturbed because like all year, no, all year he wasn't talking about no other team. The only time he was talking about a team was when you were talking about preparation for the week. He wasn't coming out. I mean, give me a team. Give me a team that it happened this year where you saw players fighting on the sideline. Don't look it up either.
We're not talking about.
Yeah, I'm not talking about in general. I'm just talking about this year. I'm talking about this season.
So, I mean, arguments happen. You know, I mean, we know guys argue on the sideline, stuff like that. But these guys were literally fist fighting.
Yeah,
was it Sunday Night Football? National.
Yeah,
it
was Sunday. Man. It was Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a bad look, man. No matter who you are, man. And the point is whether he was talking about Washington or whether he wasn't talking about Washington, the timing of him making that quote was kind of, seemed like it's directed at Washington. And at the same time, like I just mentioned, with the state of the New York Giants right now, he needs to not be worrying about what anybody else is doing because this team right now, his focus needs to be on the New York Giants and the New York Giants only, not worrying about what's going on anybody else's sideline. Need to worry about what's going on his own sideline and in his own locker room and with this damn team. Because right now it's a whole lot of bad football. And I honestly,
oh, go ahead. Sorry,
I was just going to say, and I feel like that's why I said I can't even fix my mouth to say we're going to win this football game. And I feel like Washington is going to come out here. We're going to lose another game like 20-6 or something like that because we can't score touchdowns. We barely score field goals. We just can't seem to do anything right. So
yeah, and it's just like what team, like that whole press conference was just a mess. And I get it. You want to I don't blame him. If I'm in that position and my name's on the hot seat, I'm gonna talk my stuff. He's right. We didn't see some of that stuff. We didn't see some of that stuff that he was talking about before. Are you talking about golf clubs? Guys calling you on a weekly basis talking about they wish they were still playing for the Giants? What people that you let go on your tenure that really calls you? What people? The only player I really believe is Dalvin Tomlinson. Kyler Fackrell was on the Chargers. You traded away Marcus Golden, and he's on a playoff team that's competing for a Super Bowl in the Cardinals. I mean, what other player? Kevin Zeitler is on the Ravens. He's having really a better year than what he's having with the Giants.
He absolutely is.
So I'm not buying none of that. I'm not buying none of that BS. At the end of the day, you was handling the media well all year. You wasn't giving them what they wanted. You wasn't letting them create any headlines about you. You was really doing just by that. You were securing your job. And now all of a sudden you create a whole outburst. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Yeah, man. Unless you got any final thoughts overall, man, we can get ready to wrap this up soon, man. And you can let them know where they can find you at. You can give some final thoughts. Let them know where they can find you at again, Ash.
Yeah, man. This is a tough year for the Giants. I'm gonna be doing a lot of stuff. A lot of a lot of content. I'm gonna be doing segments, mock drafts. Be doing. I got. I don't know if I should say this. Um, I'm gonna keep this to myself. But I got a lot of stuff coming in. I got a podcast with my colleague that's coming up where we talk about like entertainment issues, like music, movies, celebrities, a lot of stuff that's outside of the sports world. So that is not set up yet, but I promise when it is, I will put it out and I'll let everybody know about it. And it's gonna be something that you don't want to miss. Um, but yeah, like I said, this sports channel to get back is gonna be having a lot of stuff coming and a lot of future stuff. And for Mac, I appreciate you for reaching out to me like on Monday at the beginning of the week. Reaching out to me for doing this show. I kind of so I was off. I didn't have nothing to do, so you kind of let me because all this stuff like these vitals and stuff they weren't on the wall before today. So I just wanted to set up my like everything and I just wanted to set up everything, get everything together, and I appreciate you for having me on.
I appreciate you for coming through, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's your boy here, Mac the Giants fan. I know y'all can find me here, man. Every week, every Wednesday night, although since the season is winding down, I got one more episode coming up next Wednesday night, man. And that'll probably be it for the season for the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. But I got some other ideas in the mix, man, in the works. I'll probably be doing some more live streams on the off season. I'm working on my getting my college knowledge up because I haven't really been following college football too much the last few years, so I got to get my college knowledge back up. I can start doing some more content, breaking down college players, getting ready for the draft and everything like that. And I'm on that new podcast every Monday night with my guys, my boys Zion and Adam, man. Premium Takes podcast every Monday night, 9:00, man. We're gonna be doing that, rotating on channels. It was on my channel this past Monday. It'll be on Adam's channel on Monday night coming up, man. So got all that in the mix, and I'll be bringing a lot of good off-season content for y'all, man. So I want to thank Ash again for coming through, man. And it's your boy, man, Mac the Giants fan. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants fan. That's MACDA Giants fan.